Hi, my name is Sophie Parker and I work in the investor relations team at Burberry. I finished Godolphin in 2010 and went on to study History of Art with Italian at the University of Essex. This was a 4-year course and I got to have a year abroad in Italy in an amazing place called Urbino. I was studying there at the university, so by the time I left my Italian was great, and went back to do my final year at Essex. On graduating, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, but I had to find a job, so I ended up within a property company in Holland Park working as an admin. This wasn't the dream job, however, I needed experience, I needed to sort of work out what I wanted to do. And actually, in the duration of doing that job, I met my next boss as he bought a flat through us. So I ended up then going to work for Robin, who was an art dealer in Mayfair. I worked with him for 2.5 years as a PA/gallery assistant. I was his only employee, so did a number of roles within the company. Everything from preparing our art fairs where we'd exhibit, such as Masterpiece and Pad, to dealing with clients when they came in, to helping work out tax that was sold. And we dealt with mainly modern British art, so artists such as Bridget Riley and Lynn Chadwick and Robert Adams, Alan Davey, but then also used to sort of dabble in some French art as well. So I think my favourite ever piece was actually a plaster cast by Rodin, which was absolutely exquisite. So worked there for 2.5 years, and then got headhunted by Burberry to go and work as a PA to their new Chief Creative Officer, Riccardo Tisci. They were looking for a PA that could speak Italian and had experience with dealing with sort of high net worth people, which I had, having worked in the art world. So went to start working for Riccardo 2 years ago in August 2018. The role really wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It was very difficult and demanding, and it was working for a very creative character. So I did the role for 4 months, but was able to move sideways into the investor relations team, which is where I am today. So I've now been with the investor relations team since January 2019, so over a year and a half now. I'm the coordinator, so I help do everything from organising meetings with investors and calls with our analysts to I take ownership of the prelims and interims results, so our financial results that happen twice a year, reporting how the company does. I organise everything around our quarterly results as well, and after the 2 big results of the year, I help organise the roadshows, so when the CEO and the CFO go out to meet with all our top investors. It's a very interesting role. I get to do a lot of the targeting as well, so looking at which companies, which investment banks we need to be targeting in order to have a bigger holding within the company, whilst looking at, which other companies they have holdings within. It's a very interesting job. Things are always changing. You're always the first to know what's going on and how the company's performing, so you have really, it's very confidential information, but fascinating. It's also a role where you get to have much more interaction with senior management, so with the CEO, chairman, CFO, much more so than if you were somewhere else within the business. So yeah, sort of unprecedented levels of access to them, which is amazing, to see how they work. Since joining the IR team, I've loved doing what I do, and I'm actually hoping to make a career out of this now. So earlier this year, I took my certificate in investor relations. It's quite a broad, hefty bit of reading, big old pack that you sort of study, and it covers everything from financial markets to accounting and valuations to best practice within the industry. So I took that in July this year and passed, luckily. So hopefully now we'll be able to begin progressing up the ladder at work. But it's a really, really interesting role, and you get to sort of, it's more of a narrative around how the company's doing around their finances rather than a really nitty-gritty numbers-based role. So really interesting. In order to do my role, you need to be very organised. You need to be able to change things very easily, so you need to be super adaptable. You also need to have good interpersonal skills. I deal a lot with our investors and our analysts, so you need to have good people skills, as you do for most jobs. Mind for numbers helps. I studied maths at A-level and actually always wanted to do maths at university until starting history of art. So although you don't have to be an accountant to do this role, it does help to be able to understand how numbers work. It makes it a lot easier. So those are the main things that are needed for my role. I think if I were to give any advice, looking back over my sort of career journey, firstly, never say no to a role you haven't been offered yet. So always go for it. Don't say that you're not good enough. Don't say that you won't get it. If you don't go for the role, you won't get it. If you go for it, then you've got a chance. Also, if you encounter any setbacks, don't worry. I had this happen. I didn't get the roles needed to go to the university I wanted. So that's how I ended up at Essex. However, if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have learned Italian. I wouldn't have got any of the roles I got today. So, I never would have got the job at Burberry. So it all works out. Don't worry, it will all work out. But if there's anything else that you'd like to know about working within the art world or the fashion world, very happy to talk to you. And best of luck!